Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pathfinder Plays, and I am doing another Dead Matter podcast with my good friend and fellow content creator, Player 2. Say hello, Player 2.
What's going on, boys and girls?
That is right, and we are primarily going to be talking about the latest Dead Matter gameplay, or whatever.
Gameplay, you could call it that. You could call it that.
I'm just going to say, okay, so I did a little form of live streaming, their live stream, and so did you on Twitch. I did mine on YouTube, and people, it's searchable on YouTube, and so people are finding it, and they're commenting on it, and I'm just going to start this off by reading some of these comments.
Awesome.
This looks horrible, to be honest, and of course they won't remove the fog because of the render distance. Really disappointing, but I thought it would be like that. We have another one that says, wow, this is a massive disappointment. Got the impression from previous videos that the game was a lot more advanced than this. I'd say they at least need one more year according to the previous work. Ouch, it needs a lot more work. This guy says it won't always be foggy. This guy says that it's just bad performance. It's just fog and empty. Doesn't look good. This guy's saying, I'm afraid they might not even be done by June based on this footage. And then there's one person that says, that looks amazing, happy smiley face.
Yeah, it's pretty mixed. I'm getting a lot of the same on my channel. As you were kind of talking through it, I kind of just looked through some of my comments, and a lot of it's about the fog too, and that's something I've heard a lot before.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely agree in some aspects. I mean, at some point, we're really going to have to see some good gameplay, some substantial gameplay that does not include fog in the background.
Yeah. It's surprising to me that they have kept it throughout almost all of their developer vlogs, at least recently, and then the live stream as well. I heard one of them say that they like the spooky atmosphere it gives. I don't know. I mean, if you look at people that play DayZ, and even Escape from Tarkov, they prefer the more clear days just because it shows off more vibrancy of the trees and you're able to see things more clearly. And I think that is a really important thing to do, especially in a game like this where you're not even released yet and you're trying to show off everything. Right. I mean, this isn't a horror game, so I'm not sure why they won't just remove the fog. I mean, there's probably going to be some horror and scare elements to it at some point, but it's certainly not the focus.
No, and part of the problem, I think, is before this, I mean, if you look at a lot of, especially the earlier devlogs, there's a lot of gameplay that doesn't even have fog at all.
Yeah.
In fact, the trailer
and it looks good. It looks great.
Barely. Yeah, and it looks fantastic. So it really is confusing when we get closer to alpha. I mean, especially when we're a couple months out supposedly, and now we're seeing fog in everything.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I think Nick is really trying to. I feel like he mentioned it. I can't really remember exactly, but hopefully the next devlog they show us will not have fog. I think it's going to be rather pertinent that they do that.
Yeah, it seems that like everybody was sold on devlog 10. Everybody. Yeah. The video has like over 100,000 views now. Everybody was sold on devlog 10, and it seems that every time they give themselves this advantage, they shoot themselves in the foot the next time around. And it's like there's been no good comments hardly about this, how they described it. This world premiere, this world exclusive gameplay for Dead Matter. And it was. This was the first guy outside the developer team, besides perhaps voice actors who also helped with any future trailers or devlogs, that had the opportunity to play the game and share it, live feeding it to everybody else without any editing, and it looked absolutely terrible. And this was the world exclusive being shared to people who were viewing this stream for not only Dead Matter, but also for the other audiences, for the other streamers that were there as well, who had no idea about Dead Matter. And this was their first experience of this game, and that's what they get.
Yeah, what we're really going to need is we're going to have to get some sort of feedback from the devs, whether Nick or Gunslinger or somebody's going to have to give us some information, because there may have been a reason that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I will say that
True.
there's probably a reason, because we all know during the stream that Nick says, hey, this is from a previous build back in February, which at first glance, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, why are we seeing this then and not the newer build or another build, or, a different part of the city? I'm not sure, but maybe there was, like, to get the guy from the Twitch Calgary into the game and to make it run properly with somebody from the outside, maybe they had to only run that build. The new build doesn't have that in place yet. I don't know. I'm really not that knowledgeable on development. I mean, somewhat, but not to the point where I know how all that stuff works. So maybe there was a reason for it we don't know about, but there should have been something said about this. For sure.
There should have been something said, because you shouldn't leave your audience as a whole, who generally is not going to have an idea about how game development works, including the content creators who will be making videos about it. You shouldn't be leaving them to their own devices and in their own imagination about what you're doing.
Then we do this.
Then we do this, because it seems like they're just being, I don't know, irresponsible? Is that the right word? Underprepared, maybe.
Yeah.
Because the questions you come across are, why didn't they use, like you said, a more developed portion of the map that's complete? I mean, that seems like a pretty common sense thing that you would do for a world exclusive premiere of your game, to a bunch of eyes who haven't seen it yet. Show the best part of the maps that have been past their polish pass,
Yeah, it did feel odd. I mean, the whole gameplay just felt kind of off. It was like Nick was just like, oh, this got sprung on me last second, and then we're hopping in, and I think there's some stuff over here, and I think you'd figure for a world premiere type thing like that it would have been some thought out. Okay, we've got this to show you guys. We got this new thing with zombies.
Mm-hmm.
We got vehicle crashes, and maybe actually show a vehicle crash. I don't know. Instead of pictures,
right?
But like
he talked about
thought out plan. Yeah,
he talked about that his vehicles was the thing he was most proud of, because of being able to do all this stuff on it and making collisions seem realistic, and yet we didn't even see any collisions. And I will say that I know they were short on time.
Sure.
But I highly doubt that this was such a last-second thing that was just sprung on them, right? Like, there was only a few people on this community stream, and I would assume that the Twitch host would have contacted all of them at least like a couple weeks, 3, maybe a month in advance, to let them know, be like, hey, would you like to do this? And then they could kind of get prepared that way.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying to make a deadline, because they set it in stone. They said they set it in stone, and so they're probably more focused on that. But this was really important, because, I mean, it's not just a new audience. It's your current audience who all they've seen is amazing screenshots, which I don't put very much weight. I hardly even look at the screenshots really that are shared in anybody's Discord, because they can be so edited, and still images are a lot different than moving images.
No kidding.
And so I don't really look at that much, but even like the videos, the inventories, the devlogs, they've only been exposed to good things, and then the one time they get to see live gameplay, from the very beginning, the second it started, I was like, oh, this looks like crap. This looks bad.
It started to stutter.
Yeah.
The menu looked pretty good.
The menu looked great.
The sounds from the menu looked good.
The UI was good.
Yeah, absolutely. There are certain things that I did like. So I will say this, before, and you were watching the interview before the gameplay on your YouTube channel, streaming live as well.
Yeah.
But the actual interview with Nick got me kind of hyped. I was cool with everything they were saying.
Yeah.
There were some really good things that were being said that I took down, which is, 3 new level designers are coming on.
He said that, and that's huge. Huge.
So that leaves a lot of room for, growth, and obviously they plan on growing if they're hiring 3 new level designers.
It shows that they understand the importance of the map, because like I said in my video, it's a hot topic issue. It's a hot button issue. And so now that everyone's focused on the map and the exploration and the complexity of it and the weather system and everything else, and they want the urban environment to be super condensed and take forever to get through, like a real city and buildings and skyscrapers and whatever else. It just shows the level of importance that they're placing on the world, because, I mean, let's be honest, in a game like this, in a game like DayZ, in a game like Scum, it's going to be kind of a walking sim, but I know that they're trying to take a very keen interest in minimizing the monotony of just walking. They want points of interest scattered around frequently, but where they make sense, and I appreciate that. So that was reassuring.
Absolutely, and from previous vlogs, not only will there be points of interest, when you play games like DayZ and Scum, a lot of times it feels like there's little areas where they're going to plant a zombie here. Okay, another 30 meters, we're going to plant a zombie here, kind of thing. But in this, it says they're going to have random encounters with like looters, scavengers, different factions, and raids, and all sorts of different type of stuff. So that can lead to a lot of unique interaction, and I think that's going to make a big difference. But not only that, but they mentioned, Nick also mentioned in the stream that in the closed alpha, they will actually have basic like fetch quests that'll be implemented, which was good
huge.
To hear. I didn't think that
great.
was going to be in the closed alpha.
Yeah, because I didn't think they started working on NPCs almost at all.
Right.
I knew they were doing like they recorded some voice acting, but I didn't know that they would actually have even basic missions implemented. So, I mean, they're certainly progressing, and it's exciting that they're already doing that kind of work, because that's what I'm most interested in, is the missions and the lore and the progression in that way. And because all that's eventually going to be leading to the faction system, which is what I'm like super interested about. If anything keeps me in the game, it's going to be the complexity of the faction system and our own communities that we can build to interact with them and change the server that way.
Oh, absolutely. And the whole recruiting NPCs to like work in your base and everything like that. I'm super stoked about that.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So, I mean, the Q&A was amazing.
Yeah, because, I mean, there was even, a couple other things I noticed. One of the other ones was Nick started talking about in the next devlog that they're actually going to display their squad finder system. So I guess how to link up with other players, which is great for me because not a lot of my friends are even turned on to this game yet. They don't even really, most of my friends are console, unfortunately. Yeah. So most of them can't even get the game. Yeah, peasants. And so, yeah, right, come on. And anyway, yeah, they don't know really anything about this game, so I'm more than likely going to be playing a lot of alone time, and it might be nice if they have some sort of built-in system to, like some type of raid finder or something like that you see in big MMOs and things like that.
I've never thought about that. That would be a pretty really cool, interesting system for sure. Like you could see who's on the server, which, I mean, some DayZ mods have that.
Yeah, they do.
Like you'll go on, it shows all the players' names on the server, so if you run across one and you guys want to team up or whatever, then you can just find their name, add them to group, and it shows like how their distance and little name and life bar up in the corner or something like that.
Yeah, that hopefully they can implement something of that nature, at least to, try to make it easier on people who don't have a lot of friends that are playing but would like to play with people. Because a lot of times in games like this, it seems like we have to create groups on Facebook and stuff like that to meet up with other people or some sort of other weird system.
Yeah, if you could do it all in-house, that would just simplify the whole thing. And you don't want to have to make a game tedious.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, that would break the whole point of the immersion if you can't even, in a simplistic fashion, add somebody to your group and not worry about murdering them.
Right. That's always a plus. And I think the final thing, and we only got a little hint of it because he got cut off when he was talking, but Nick started to talk about Hotwiring. And the Twitch Calgary guy kind of cut him off. They moved on, but I was like, he really kind of wanted to get into it. I think he forgot or something, but I wanted to hear more about that. I don't remember hearing about that in a devlog before, so.
I think I saw something about it, like it was in one of the Dead Matter questions slots. Somebody asked if they could hotwire a vehicle. I know it was. I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that you can hotwire vehicles if you don't have the key, but you'll probably need like the correct prior occupation to do so. Yeah,
that's fair, like mechanic or something like that.
But that's good because once again, that goes into what we were talking about in our previous Discord conversation, our previous podcast, where it was talking about how no one's going to be a jack of all trades, where one could be a cook, one could be a mechanic, one could be an engineer, one could be a police officer, each with their own pros and cons, and thus bring something totally unique and profitable to the group. So if you lose one, you lose a integral part of what you had before.
I agree, because a lot of times in games where you have, whether it's prior occupations, professions, something that leads to like different skill sets, it usually ends up, especially in games like Division 2, Anthem, maybe even Fallout 76, where there's like a specific perk system or perk path that always ends up being the best. So kind of everybody goes in that direction. If they can kind of steer away from that and really, really make them as balanced as possible, that way it's much more immersive. You really can't do what everybody else does. Everybody gets to kind of do their own thing. That would be beautiful, because I've never seen it done properly.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you could use that as a bargaining chip. So I mean, if you ever played DayZ or something like that, I mean, you could come across playing solo, and you could run across like a group, a 2-man or a 3-man, or hell, even a 5-man, right? And instead of just dying or giving them all your loot, you could simply say, you could barter yourself and your skills. Be like, hey, listen, I was a prior mechanic in the past life, and I have some skills that I think could be of value to you if you just simply spare me. I'll go across with you. You guys have stuff you want to fix, I can fix it. You need a car that you don't have a key to, I can hotwire it for you. You know, you could barter your skills for your life, and you can't do that in any other game of this genre, anyways.
Yeah, not of this genre. At least, I haven't seen anything like that. When it comes to, I can plant the food, you can build the barricades, so on and so forth. Yeah, that would make for a lot of very interesting gameplay. Yeah,
that would be phenomenal. But back on the live stream, you were saying that there was some like severe lag issues, and there really was. It was really bad. I mean, we saw it with even the bullets. They were matrixing the bullets. I've never seen that, not even in a devlog. They were sticking in the air.
No, I haven't seen that yet either. It really hasn't been like that.
I was like, how is a game that is one of the main things they show and talk about is the animations, the recoil, the gunplay in general, the reloading. How are you going to have a live stream, once again labeled world exclusive, and then have your bullets floating in the air? That's not something that instills confidence
no
at all.
No, it really doesn't. And that's where I'm kind of, earlier I was talking a bit about, the good things that I did see, how hyped I was before from the interview that he had with the Twitch Calgary guy. And then we actually get into the gameplay. And
it was night and day. It was night and day.
It was night and day. I mean, there were so many different things I saw. That was one. There was stuttering of frames. The bullets definitely went, Matrix mode. The guy's hand started glitching through the gun. Yeah,
the second he picked up the gun, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, and then he started shaking.
Yep.
Like, that was pretty intense. And then I don't know if you saw Nick's character driving with like his forehead.
Yeah, it was it went from a fluid, actionable character model to just a prop leaning forward with his face on the steering wheel moving around.
Yeah, and I noticed Big Fry talked about it too.
He did.
He brought that up.
He said it was cute.
Yeah, I thought it was cute.
It was cute.
It was a little cute, He kind of looked almost like a smaller, human being.
It looked like a little child,
Yeah, little child driving.
With his face.
With his face. I mean, that's a new way to drive, I guess.
That's the only way.
It's the only way. In Dead Matter, maybe.
That's right.
But yeah, with Big Fry, I mean, he had a little bit to say about the game. I watched his video on it. I don't know if any of our other viewers have, but I'm sure they have.
They probably have.
Yeah, he gets tons of views.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, he kind of had some nice words as well, which he seemed pretty optimistic about it, actually.
He did. That was surprising. I think in terms of Big Fry, I suppose it shouldn't be surprising. I mean, I don't know how long you followed him, but I mean, he got real big for being hypercritical and super brutal and honest to these indie developers, especially on Steam, who are releasing just broken trash games, trying to do a quick flip and get some bucks, And so, in that sense, it's surprising that he didn't do it in this case. But at the same time, he's made it a point in his videos to say that he doesn't want to do that all the time. He doesn't want to be the guy to just rail about a game that might be bad. He doesn't want to. He just wants to enjoy video games. That's been his big thing lately, and I appreciate it. And it's also nice because it gives us some balanced feedback on the game. And one of the things that he did say that is still very important to note is that it's not even closed alpha yet.
That's true.
It's not early access. It's not alpha. It is pre-alpha, and I mean, that right there is enough to stem a lot of the negativity, I think, because it's not even it's still a pre-alpha build. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily negate the issues, and I know he's not trying to negate the issues or avoid them at all.
Right.
But it's just not what we've seen. What we've seen is like a game that looks like it's already in early access from the developer vlogs, a functional parts of the world, the newspaper on the windows, flipping gun mechanics and bullet sprays and grenades throwings and everything like that. And the fact that it makes it so sketch to me, seeing all those things as a recording, and then when I see it live, it's not that way.
Yeah, well, the thing is I remember watching Devlog 10, and they, shot up. I think it was Reggie.
Yeah.
And you didn't. I mean, yeah, he like flew across the screen. But
he desynced and then he came back, and
that 100% happened.
But I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah, but the bullets didn't look like that.
The bullets didn't float; they had impact.
No, and so I'm wondering if that was the same build or not. But they would have been it. From what he was saying, it sounds like they would have been the same build. So I'm kind of confused how that happens in one build. And if it's the same build, it doesn't, happens on the same one. I'm not sure how that would work.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me. I know a lot of the things they were saying about like the performance issues. They were saying a lot of it was like origin shifting. Do you know what origin shifting is?
I've heard the word. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it is.
Well, I asked about it, and former developer Shirk actually answered my question.
Huh.
And he said, origin shifting basically fixes floating point issues. It moves the world origin, so the world transforms of objects aren't huge numbers like 218602958.059288, because you get accuracy issues when an object is so far from the origin. Think of like a graph. So whenever you think of origin, think of graph.
Okay.
And so whenever you get accuracy issues when an object is far from the point of origin, that it starts bugging out and can cause unwanted side effects like stuttering and animations. So you shift everything around to prevent that. So essentially, there was an origin shifting issue in the game, essentially, that they were playing, where whenever you would move close to an object or maybe carry an object, the origin point, there was no smooth transition, so everything was kind of like shaky, like they had Kuru.
Yeah, that's what he was mentioning to the Twitch Calgary guy. He's like, I remember him saying something about the origin, and you can press something on your numpad. I think it was like 0 or something on your numpad, and it'll reset the origin. That must have been what he was talking about, and the guy didn't do it at all.
Yeah, and if he did do it, it didn't fix it.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so I know that people should take into account that as well. I mean, this shouldn't just be a hate train just to hate on it. I mean, there's always going to be reasons, whether those reasons are reasonable or whether they should have known better. Those are two different things, but
I agree. I definitely want our viewers to understand that. If you guys are watching, if you've made it this far into the video, which most folks is through our analytics, I guess don't. But if you have, then we're not bashing the game. I think
for the sake of
both of us. Yeah, we're actually excited about this game, and we just want to see development, head in the right direction.
Yeah,
and we don't also want to be shills and just go with it's okay, we'll figure it out, it's gonna be okay, we're fine.
It's not. I'm not. I was telling player too. I was telling you this. I was like, I don't want to defend the game.
Yeah.
Whenever it's this bad at showing itself, because then I'm going to seem like a shill.
Yeah.
And it's really, really just bad. And so I want to be as fair and as unbiased as possible, and give my honest opinions, because I'm not partnered. They're not paying me. I want to see the game succeed, but I also want to keep my integrity intact. And I told Nick probably like 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were DMing. I told him, I was like, I know I've made you guys mad in the past for some of the videos I've made, and I'm not expecting to get partnered, but I'm going to say what I see and what my worries are, and because the fact of the matter is, if this game dies, my channel will probably die too, because I mean, I need, if they don't succeed, I don't succeed, and that's as simple as it gets.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one for both of us. I mean, we talked about it, I believe, in our last podcast about it. Is, I mean, I've tried out other games, and I've had pretty good views in other games, but it's literally like one video, and it's not going to happen for another. It was a lucky video. Mm-hmm. But with this direction that this game is headed in, first of all, we're behind the curve. So, I mean, we're getting in before everybody else is. So even though we're obviously smaller channels than a lot of, like Big Fray and stuff like that out there, we're one of the few that's actually covering the game. So one of the small sources of information that people can find on YouTube about it, considering we constantly make videos about it all the time.
Yeah.
And mostly Dead Matter for that fact.
Yeah.
But the direction that it's going to be headed in, I have big hopes for this game. I mean, it seems like if everything's done right and looks good after closed alpha, and then we get to early access, and this game just blows up to DayZ levels, or possibly even surpasses DayZ,
that'd be huge.
Then we've been here since the beginning. Like, that's going to be huge for us. Not only that, but I'm excited to play with a lot of my viewers. I've talked with them, and I feel like some channels are just like, hi, we're all brothers here, we love each other, and they have like 1 million subscribers. Like, they don't care about any of you. But like me, and you, Path, we have a very small subscriber base, so it's like we actually get to have genuine conversations with our viewership and really build relationships, and it's fun. It's what I like to do, because I'm actually interested in talking about the game with whoever wants to talk about it. I'm interested in, finding people to play with, considering, like I said, I don't really have very many people to play with whenever the game comes out, and kind of just building a community around it of, so we can all play together and have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. So that being said, I mean, the potential to grow big is there. The potential to have a lot of fun with the community is there, but it all hinges on if they deliver on what they say. And, so up until this point, I've always felt like they have, but I mean, certainly this was a huge worry. It is possible that, I mean, I don't know. It is possible, I suppose, that they were just super unprepared. They just didn't think that this would be that big of a deal. They were just like, whatever, I'll hop on some old build or whatever and walk around a little bit and show them what's what, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And it is possible they just had that lackadaisical of an attitude with it, which I certainly, at one point, I hope they wouldn't, because it's bad. But at the same point, if that's their attitude and they just use the whatever version of the game and just hope for the best, at least we know it's not as bad. Like the game, that would imply the game is still at the point to where we saw it before in the devlogs. They just didn't show it.
Yeah, well, my thing is, too, is, more than likely, I mean, and hopefully they watch this, and I'm sure that one of them at least will, because usually in most of my videos I get a comment from at least somebody that's working on the game that's replying to one of the nasty comments that's left.
Yeah.
A lot of times I see that, so hopefully they watch this, and maybe one of them can say, hey, here's exactly what happened. If we get something like that, that would be great. That would make this podcast completely worth it, and we actually, made some difference and, got some people some information that we can post about. But my guess is more than likely what happened is it looked like they were told about a week prior. Like, it seemed like maybe when Twitch Calgary posted on Twitter about a week before they actually did it. Maybe it was a week and a half. Maybe that's what happened. And they were working on all these other different things. They have this new build they're working on that, yes, it's a good build, but it didn't have the capabilities to potentially, let a player from the outside hop in and run around for as long as they ran around and get in vehicles. It may have, it may look good and run functionally, but it may not have had any content. So they were like, you know what? Unfortunately, with the amount of time the week before this comes out, we're only going to be able to get ready one of our older builds. The newer build isn't going to be ready to actually show barely anything, so we're not going to show that. So that could have happened. I just, like we were talking about earlier, I would have liked to have heard that. I would like to say that.
And in terms of actually, there not being much to see. I mean, we didn't see much in this one, anyways. So I would have rather had a well-performing, well-polished game and not seeing anything than a terrible performing game and still not see anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Like I was saying, how stoked I was when we were listening to the interview. I was like, oh my gosh, like I think we're about to get to see like an NPC, or I think we're about to hear maybe about crafting more, that's another one for me. I really want to hear more about the crafting system.
Yeah.
That's really big for me too. Or I don't know, something like that. Maybe some more PvP. I'm not sure. Definitely more than what we got. That's for sure.
Well, we probably would have seen more, except for the fact that the game wasn't even downloaded until midway through the interview.
That was weird too. It's like, this has been a week. How did that happen?
I was like, are you kidding me right now?
That was really weird. I thought that was kind of weird too.
I was like, man, I don't know. It felt rushed. It felt unprepared. I don't know. It felt like the guy just called him up the morning of and was like, yo, you want to squeeze this in real quick?
Yeah, it definitely felt that way. I mean, with everything that went into it, whether it was the questions, I don't think it sounded like he didn't know anything was going to happen. I don't know. It was very awkward. I'll have to admit that.
Which I know it's hard to answer questions on the fly. Yeah. I've done multiple interviews for various things, and
sure.
You have to be able to answer. You need to know who you are, what you've done, what they're going to be asking about. I would have expected maybe better answers on some things, like he didn't know the size of the map. And I was like,
yeah, that one was weird.
I was like, that's kind of weird, especially after such a huge kerfuffle that was splitting it into like 2 or 3 different maps.
Well, I'm going to be honest about that one, actually. So it really actually did. I totally forgot about that. It did kind of sound weird because, I mean, he could have just been like, it's going to be around 12 kilometers by 12.
Yeah.
But he was like, I don't. It seems like he didn't really want to get into it at all. So that kind of did worry me a little bit.
And then he said it was on the small side, which that kind of goes against what any of the devs have been saying as far as what I've seen in the Discord, because they were like, it's not small, it's like Skyrim size, or it's this size, or it's that size. You're gonna have plenty of space to run around in. Okay, reassuring everybody. And then he says it's on the small side of things. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, because it's already going to be small. We know that because, I mean, at least for the closed alpha.
It's closed alpha. I expect that to be small. But are we talking like 4x4 small? Or like because then I mean
2x2.
Yeah, like small could be real small, and it could be less of a exploring and role playing game and more of just a PvP battlefield. For closed alpha.
Oh my gosh! If they do it like somewhere around 4x4 or even smaller than that, that's exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, there'll be no building claiming, there'll be no exploration. No one's going to be getting their quests done because everyone's going to be shooting everybody.
Right. So
I mean, and then everyone's going to be desyncing, rubber banding all around the map because their corpses fly all over the place.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. The whole thing was just kind of underwhelming. Is that a good word?
That's a good word.
That's
very fair. Yeah.
Do you have any more thoughts to add on anything?
Not really. I mean, I guess so. We've decided that we're going to be doing these podcasts on one or each other's channels at a time instead of posting them exactly the same time like we did the first time. And looking back, it didn't make any sense. So we've decided we're not going to do that anymore.
I agree.
we're going to post on one at a time. So this video is going to go on Pathfinder's channel, which is obviously where you're watching it right now. And make sure you guys give him a like on his video. If you liked it, I think we went over some decent information, some stuff that kind of needs to be aired out. Give him a subscribe, check out his content. He's got a lot of good videos out there on, different stuff about Dead Matter, questions getting answered. If you want to learn about the game, I would highly recommend checking out his other videos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys, you're a pretty swell chap.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys go check out Player 2 as well. He has a really great series about, what was it? Realistic game, how do you phrase it? Realistic gameplay features?
Gameplay features. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Everyone really enjoys that series. He goes over the videos and looks for features that are more realistic and also increase some gameplay experience as well that people would always want in games like this. So I would encourage you guys to go check him out as well. The next podcast we do, undetermined time, undetermined topic, but it will be on Player 2's channel as well. Just heads up there. And yeah, I suppose we'll end this podcast here. Great having you on, Player 2. Always good talking to you.
Same here, bud. And everybody, kind of all our survivors out there. If you guys have any questions about this podcast, definitely leave them in the comments below, and both of us can actually try to answer. And that would probably be the best way to get, in touch with either of us about any questions about this.
That's right. And hopefully there'll be developers watching this, and either they'll be in the comments, hopefully, and maybe leave a comment that I can pin or answer some questions as well. Because I'm going to
tag one of them for sure. I'm going to tag Nick for sure.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Neither of us are getting partner now.
No Quantum Cowboys for us.
No Quantum Cowboys for us. We had negativity to say. No, I'm sure it'll be fine. He's a level-headed guy. But anyways, guys, if you guys like scare survival scavenging, consider hitting that subscribe button. Share this with people who you think are feeling kind of iffy about the live stream and kind of want some clarification and know that they're not going crazy. And, even we found it kind of weird, but also we are still hopeful and optimistic. So, guys, with that, I will see you guys in the next one.